What is good, everybody? Welcome to J Powell Music. Be sure to like and subscribe here on the channel so you can get updated on the episodes that are coming out, especially if you hit that notification bell. That's when that would happen. But if you subscribe to the channel, if you're into music, you want to hear what J Powell's think pieces are on certain music things that he's excited for and into, feel free to check that out. Also, there's the links above my head as well. So I do have a Twitch, twitch.tv/J Powell Music. There's my Instagram, which is more so my personal Instagram. You can follow me if you'd like. And then also the Song Whip. I do music as well. So it's not just a coincidence. So feel free to check that out as well. Yeah, and then on the Twitch, I haven't mentioned this. I mentioned before, but I do a Music Fridays on a Saturday release. So basically on Saturday on Twitch, when I go live, I discuss the music that came out on Friday and just talk about those things that released. But speaking of that, I wanted to discuss, since we're so close to the end of 2022, I wanted to discuss some albums that are supposed to come out this year, which I find very interesting, obviously, since this is a music channel. So let's dive into it, shall we? The first thing that caught my eye was Broken Bells, Into the Blue. I'm a really big fan of Broken Bells. If you guys are not hip to Broken Bells, I want to say it was the lead singer of the Shins and Danger Mouse collaborate together. And the last album is very, very good, exceptionally good. So it's been quite some time since they've released a new album. So I'm personally excited for Into the Blue. Supposed to come out this Friday. We'll see if that's actually going to happen. And then all these albums are coming out as well. But the biggest one, for at least for this coming Friday, very excited for Into the Blue. Let's see here. You got Lamb of God, Omens. I'm not a huge Lamb of God fan, but obviously familiar for who they are. Respect their artistry. A couple other things that are coming up here, say the week after that. You got MIA with Mata. I am a fan of MIA, so I'm very excited for that. You got Little Baby coming out with an album, It's Only Me. Curious to see how that one will sound. Since he's got, people say that his album My Turn is arguably a classic album, so we'll see how this stacks up to his best. This is one I find really interesting. So the 14th is supposed to be insane. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Return of the Dream Canteen. So if you're not familiar with Red Hot Chili Peppers or are not hip to what's happening, Unlimited Love, they released Unlimited Love, the first album in 16 years or something crazy. 6 years? It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without Don't Beat the Step 2. It's been a long time. So before Unlimited Love, it's been a while since RHCP has been together with Frashante specifically. But they're coming out with another project, apparently, Return of the Dream Canteen. And I will say, I reviewed Unlimited Love either on this channel or on my 440 Guitar Podcast channel. Feel free to check that out as well. A music channel where it's mainly about, specifically certain musicians and interview podcast. But they've released a couple of singles for Return of the Dream Canteen, and it's definitely they seem more relaxed. The music seems more focused. They honestly seem like they're having more fun. I feel like Unlimited Love was more so like a warm-up album as far as for all of them making music together, so I'm really curious to see how this sounds, because I think this is going to be probably a sound that I'm more interested in, because I did like the singles that they've released. I think they sound really good. They sound more like RHCP as far as the vibe of Frashante, I should say. I feel like Unlimited Love seemed very stiff, even with Frashante's solos. I think Black Summer was the only one. I think that's the name of the song. Where it was really good. I think it was a well-made solo. But yeah, everything seemed really stiff to me. So I just didn't really care for it. This one, it seemed a little more loose. It seemed a little more creative on some of this stuff, on some of the songs as far as how they're constructed. So if this comes out that week, definitely we're going to be talking about it here on the channel. So definitely keep, be sure to like and subscribe or hit that notification bell. you'll hear from me definitely. So we got the 21st of October, as far as for what is happening. Arctic Monkeys album, The Car. Supposed to be releasing around that time. I mentioned before on the channel, big fan of Arctic Monkeys. Obviously, the album, Everything What They Say Is What I'm Not. That is my favorite album. And then they have another one, Fluorescent Adolescent. Both classic albums, I would say. Everything after that has been okay. I haven't cared for too much. It's hard to top those two albums, though. Where Fluorescent Adolescent and with Everything What They Say Is What I'm Not. Those are hard-hitting albums. Great albums. It's really hard to beat those. And you don't necessarily want to beat each album that you come out with, but, you know, as far as this, when it comes to albums you remember, you obviously want your album to be remembered. So, Taylor Swift's coming out, but J. Powell, well, actually, that's not true. There are some songs that I like from Taylor Swift. I haven't really been interested in anything that she's released since Trouble. The song Trouble. I'm a fan of it, whatever. October 28th, got Babyface with Girls Night Out. Curious to see how that'll sound. See if it'll be more in tune with today's type of R&B music, or more so just sticking to the back in the day 90s R&B that we are akin to. So curious to see how that goes. Nothing I give a crap about the rest of these. So if we roll into November, and of course, just to keep in mind for this list, this is from Metacritic. I don't know if this is going to be actually the case as far as the release. So I'll definitely put a disclaimer. These albums may not come out this time because life happens. Let's see here. Springsteen's coming out with another album on the 11th. That's nice, I guess. I know y'all are excited about this one, baby. Nickelback rolling. They get a lot of crap, definitely. Let's see. Interesting. Not a whole lot left in the year for albums. Very, very interesting thing to me. Yeah, very, very interesting. So part of me wonders, let's have a conversation about this. This be a two-part, no, this won't be a two-part video, but as far as the other part of the video, I wanted to discuss some of my favorite albums that have released this year. Since, what we read, there's a couple of albums I'm interested in. Not very much after that. So, as far as for what's released so far, I wanted to talk about some of my favorite albums that have released. So let's get into it, shall we? So we got, obviously, well, this is definitely not in sequential order. Maybe it should be. Yeah, let's do it by release date. Let's see if it actually does it. Let's see. This is albumoftheyear.org. So, this is like ruined everything. Let me see. I don't understand. I wish it showed the actual release dates, because it's just showing me albums that I'm not kin to. Sorry, guys. I got that old man mentality here. So let's go to... Goddamn, come on. I guess we can do popularity. Let's just do that. Okay, so a couple of albums big fan of that I released this year. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I did like it. I honestly will say I have not gotten back to it, but I do respect it. I do respect for what it is. I will definitely say it's not his best album. It's not his second best album. Might not even be his third best album. I think it might be, but definitely not the first or second. So that is a definite thing. When it comes to the next thing, The Weeknd, Dawn FM. I love this album. I think this is a very good album. I think a lot of people kind of overlooked it for some reason, but this is a very solid project. I think he did a really great job with this. There's some really good songs on there, some hits. It's a focused album. It's a cool little concept album. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Solid freaking project. Nuts. Like, really nuts. Um, I might have discussed this on the show. I'm not sure. I didn't care for It's Almost Dry, guys. And I'm a Pusha T fan. My favorite album from him is My Name Is My Name. That's a classic album. And arguably one of Kendrick's, he has an insane verse on that album. But yeah, as far from It's Almost Dry, didn't really care for it. Produced by Kanye. And a lot of the songs kind of sound the same to me, in my opinion. A lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I just didn't like the sound of the project. As far as quality, it's good. But as far as creatively, just didn't care for it. Renaissance, album sounds good. It's just not my cup of tea. So nothing against it personally. Honestly, never mind. The album definitely is right with how I feel about it. I don't really care for what Drake did on that. JID, I talked about this a little bit, I think, but if I haven't, JID, this project is very good. I would like to go back to this and listen to it. It's a solid project. Harry Styles. I hear this is a great album. I haven't listened to it yet. Let me know if you guys like that one. Color Cheat Codes. Black Thought and Danger Mouse Cheat Codes. So there's a lot of problems with this album. There's a couple of problems, but when it comes to the sounds of the album sound good as far as Danger Mouse and everything. Black Thought, which is one of my favorite rappers, lyricist, artist. Rapping is great. The problem is that his mixing is god awful. God awful mixing. A lot of the times I can't hear what he's saying. I can't hear a lot of it. I have to really pay attention. If I'm driving, I have to pull over the car and I have to lean into my speaker. So that's how bad the mixing is for a lot of this. So unfortunately, not a fan of the mixing in this album. But as far as for the significance, once you hear what he's saying and the beats, it sounds good. It's just, wasn't there from a mixing perspective. Gemini writes, I have to go back to this. There's obviously some good songs on here. When I started the album, I don't know. I have to go back to it. I don't want to say that I don't like it yet because I need to give it the right time of the day. This album, on the other hand, Conway God Don't Make Mistakes. I didn't care for this album. I thought it was boring, to be honest. I thought the beats were very boring from Alchemist, and I'm a big fan of Alchemist. I think he's done some really great projects, especially with Rock Marciano, the Elephant Man's Bones. Dope beats on that, But just didn't care for the production or the rapping for Conway God Don't Make Mistakes. So wasn't a big fan. That might be in my package. I ordered a Elgato DX, the dynamic microphone, so we'll see how that sounds in the next video. But anyway, moving on here, we got Logic, Vinyl Days. Did not listen to it because I do not like Logic. It's biased, but whatever. Vince Staples. This is one of my favorite albums that's come out this year. Vince Staples, Ramona Park Broke My Heart. Fan-frickin-tastic album. So good. Kenny Beats kills it. Vince Staples kills it. It's a great freaking project. I'll just say that. It's a great project. They do a really great job. Yeah. And there's no skips. I can definitely say there's no skips. So pretty fantastic there. I'm trying to see what else has come out. What else is released? Haven't really listened to Saba. Joey Badass 2000. It's a pretty decent album. Is it the best album? I don't think so. Badass, I think, is much better. Badass, I think, is his best album. And then 1999 is pretty insane, too. But 2000, it sounds good, but I don't know. Bjork. I haven't discussed the Bjork album. I talked about the single that came out. This is a really good album, too. It's definitely one of those experiences. So you really have to experience this. It's not your if you haven't listened to Bjork, it's not your everyday pop in your let's say your tape deck. I'll see how old I am. So pop in your CD player and just listen away. It's not one of those albums. It's definitely not. But it's really good, and she talks about some really interesting stuff, important things. The production is crazy on it, really wild. So shout out to the sound engineer, the engineers. The album sounds insane. So, but worth a listen. Definitely an experience, if anything. Tana Talk 4, Benny the Butcher. I thought it was a solid project. I'm always going to like the plugs I've met. The first one out of anything else that they do. And I didn't get to finish Panic at the Disco. I guess a lot of people didn't like it. That guy's voice is insane, by the way. And unfortunately, Lizzo, I haven't listened to that one. Will of the People I've talked about on the show, not a good album. Unfortunately, I just think they've kind of just lost it. Dawn to 2. It's not Kanye's worst project, but it's damn sure not his best. Life of Pablo is better than Dawn to 2. I'll just say that. And 808's Heartbreaks. 808 Heartbreak is much better than this. And obviously all of his classics are better than Donda 2. Donda 1 is better than Donda 2. So just to give you an idea of how good Donda 2 is, it is not a good album. Jack White's Fear the Dawn definitely is one of mine that I like. Good project. Definitely a more of a riskier style because he's, it's different because he has different band members and everything. The sound is very like grungy. He's using this a little more technology, whatnot. So definitely a much more experimental type project, but a solid album. Amber Mark, 3 Dimensions Deep. Do not sleep on Amber Mark. This is a fantastic album as well. I hope it's not overlooked, but this is a really good project. Really, really good project. I definitely mean that. Lupe Fiasco, Drill Music in Zion. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, did you read the book of the summer that you're supposed to read for the English class for this coming year? I skimmed through it. I'll listen through it. It sounds good. There's a lot of deep things in the project that I just have yet to get a grasp of. So I definitely will have to go back to it. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Unlimited Love. I've talked about it already, so I won't go over it again. God did. He did some of it. I don't know what happened to the rest of it. The God did track is good. Everything else I can skip, to be honest. Let's see what else. Fayez. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to listen to all of that. I'll probably try to do that today because that one has been talked about. One of the most talked about projects. Bad Bunny, obviously, supposed to be very good. I haven't tapped into that as well. So yeah, I might have to make this a 2-parter. So this will be part 1. Yeah, this will be part 1. So we stopped from, we were in, I don't even know what order this is. This is in popularity order, but I'll have to do a part 2 of this, because the video is getting a little long here. But again, so far, what I've discussed, those albums, I think are very good. So check out the rest of the, run back the video if you don't remember what I said. But anyway, this is J Powell here, signing off here at J Powell Music. I will do a part 2 of this video of the albums that I liked this year. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next video.